Morning, it's Saturday morning now, it's 8:30, so time for a quick cup of tea and then crack on with the brewery refit. Okay, we're nearly there. So apart from the freezer and the brew bench, the old brew bench, we're there. So I just need to grab some tools, dismantle that and remove it. Then there's a bit of a, obviously I want to clean the floor before I lay the new one down. Yeah, I'm just hoping that the weather holds off. It's looking very nasty. It will rain, guaranteed. So it does curl up around the edges, but that's going to be good because any spilt work will hopefully not run down the edges and can be easily cleaned up. And again, I'm not going to bother sticking it down, I don't think. Okay, so looking at this, what I've done is just tucked the excess underneath. I do need to dry the floor out a little bit more underneath. I don't want any dampness under there, otherwise that's just going to go mouldy and horrible. But if I lay that back down and just try and line up the hatch marks, it doesn't look too bad, and there's no real ridge. I'll get some rubber tape, so I will tape along there, so that will, I guess, ruin the effect. But yeah, it's just going to be easier, and if I do want to change things around a little bit later, I've just got some excess rubber mat to play with, so I think that will end up being quite good. That'll obviously pull back a bit more, but yeah, I think that'll be a good job done. I'll probably get some rubber tape to do this seal, but I think just in the meantime I'm just going to put some of this gaffer tape down. I don't know if it will be any good at all, but apart from that middle joint, which is particularly rough, and obviously it is curling up around the edges, but that's not a problem because I'm going to have stuff holding it in place. But I think that actually looks okay, and that will do the job quite well. So I've got a few sheets of stainless steel there, a sheet of aluminium which probably won't be used, not on the walls. It might just be used to strengthen the floor underneath some shelves or something, and I just got these two pieces for free, so I may use them, I may not. So this is the bench. This will be going in shortly. It's not brand new, it's got quite a bit of scratching on it, but that's going to be underneath my boilers and tons, so I don't think that really matters. I had to cut the legs down, so I cut these, drop bits everywhere. So I cut that amount off each leg, and there's also a adjuster goes on the bottom of the leg, so I won't be putting that back on. The table does seem to sit quite straight without it. So I'm just measuring 7 centimetres down and around about the same across, because this should marry up with this line here, which is a more reinforced part of the wall, so it should hold better, all being well, but anything can happen. So at 7 centimetres, yeah, that does line up if the sheet marries up with the bottom of the extractor. Okay, need a hole punch because the drill is walking. So just went shopping again. I've got this box of drill bits. I'm going to try and show without it all falling all over the place. So a bargain basement bucket of drill bits. They're supposed to be for stainless steel, but they're just not even making the mark in these sheets. So these bits are still cheap, or cheap enough. I've also got yet another set of slightly higher quality drill bits. Erbauer I quite like. They're not the best, but as far as value for money, they're pretty good. So between what I've just bought, I should be able to cut the holes that I need to hang these stainless steel sheets. So let's give it another try. Also went for a mains powered drill this time. The battery ones are great screwdrivers and okay drills, but I just need a bit more power to it. So let's see if we get on any better with this one. So let's line it up with the hole I made earlier. Perfect. I went straight through, no issues with that whatsoever. I mean, the hole was already half done, I just couldn't get all the way, so obviously a brand new drill bit. So right, the panels are on the wall. The left hand one is just secured at the top. I just need to install some or fit some screws at the bottom. So having the right drill bits definitely helped. That was night and day. So when I got these stainless steel sheets, they were a job lot, 3 pieces. The third piece is bigger than these two, but these two joined together almost fit the entire back wall. The missized bit at the bottom, that's going to be out of sight. I'm not worried about that at all. And there will be a join between them. I'm going to get some H channel or I channel, whatever it's called, just so that I've got more of a seamless, or well, a obvious seam, but it should look quite tidy. To loosen these top ones, so it doesn't snag the plastic as I pull it off. that. Brilliant, love it. That's alright. So you can get these tables with a lip up the back, so if you have any spillages it doesn't all just fall down there, but that's not a problem, I don't mind. As I've said, it's a used table, it's not brand new, it's showing some obvious signs of age, but all these scratches are going to be under the equipment that I'm going to put on there, so all that will be hidden. There's some holes there where a previous owner put some pumps. I don't know if I'll use them or not. It's a shame that they're there if I'm not going to use them, but never mind. So yeah, we're getting there. Hi everyone, it's now day 2 of the refit. It's quite late in the day now, it's 2:30, so a lot later getting going than I wanted to. I just had no inclination at all this morning. I probably wasn't even gonna do it at all, but yeah, need to crack on with it. I said that I didn't really want to, I wanted to reuse this manifold, but I didn't want to actually drill into the stainless steel. But my thinking is that you probably still mount it at the top there, mount the top pipe, and still have it in situ, and then just have this resting on the stainless steel, but with some mounts on it just to protect it. This needs reinforcing because this is wobbling all over the place, so I've got an idea how to do that. So yeah, I'll crack on, give that a go. I think that's the best thing to do next. So I'm going to reinforce the manifold. I'm going to use these pipe connectors. These are white and plastic. It's not ideal, it's not really what I want to do, but I think I'm going to paint the copper pipe, silver, chrome, whatever, so I can always just paint these at the same time and hopefully not make it look too rubbish. So this rod I've got, I'm just going to mount these onto there, and then the other side, cut it to the right length, and it should be ideal to act as a spacer just to reinforce this manifold here. You'll see it properly when it's actually up on here. Right, that is now cut to the correct size. Just a little tip, and thanks Dad for this, always listen to your advice. When you're cutting a threaded bar, always good to just put a nut on it first, when it makes more sense if it's a bolt, because obviously with the bar you can get a nut on the other end, but you're likely to ruin the thread on it. So if you put a nut on this end, then you should be able to unscrew it, screw it off, and it should correct any burrs or remove any burrs on the thread, and just make it easier to reuse, to put a new fresh nut onto. Right, that's it, the manifold's in place. It's secured just on the very top bar, and the white pipe clips below, not sure about those. There are a couple on there that have got the little plastic, rubber feet on, like these pit things. So yeah, that should stop the pipework rubbing against the stainless steel, but I'm not actually happy with how they are, so That's going to take some rethinking, but it'll do for now, all being well. So what I'm going to do now is move on to the HLT. I've got this Hermes coil that needs to be fitted, so that's going to go obviously inside it. And I just need to make holes in the side for these two pipes to come out. So these outlets here, or outlet and inlet, will be feeding the coil. The wort is going to go around and around the coil whilst it's in the hot liquor tun and bring the wort up to temperature. So I'm going to have some bulkhead parts I need to make holes for, and they're going to have the cam lock quick release, don't know what you call them, the male part, the almost a nipple, and they'll be coming out the side. So I need to find out where best to mount those, and on the other side, but somewhere away from all the electrics, I'm going to need yet another connector, and that's where the fresh cold water is going to go in. I mentioned before I've got a water filter to be installed as well, so I don't know if I'll do that today or wait until I actually get the water filter. I've got these labels on the boiler and the HLT. I've been trying to rub that off. They're just annoying me. They just look so horrible after all these years. I mean, they didn't look great left on anyway, but they've just faded. I need to get them off. It's not an easy job. Obviously lots of hot soapy water, and eventually they'll come away. It's not so bad actually. They've been soaking for a little while. They feel a little bit dry to the touch now, but now if I literally just rub, they are coming away. It's making a horrible mess on the floor and on the bench, but that will hoover up. But actually that's worked okay. It's coming off brilliantly. This bottom one is going to need a little bit more work, a bit more wetting, but we're getting there. So this is inside the HLT. You can see the two elements in there. They're 3 kilowatts each, so that's a total of 6 kilowatts per boiler. So I'm going to need to try and mount this fairly low down. It will just be a lot more efficient as far as the heat exchange, especially being close to the elements, and try and bend these around a little bit so that they're almost vertical with each other. But I'm going to take the whole thing outside and do it out there where I've got a bit more light. Okay, this is the bulkhead connector. So I need to cut a hole in the HLT big enough for this to go through. What you need to do is drill a pilot hole, and then using this cutter, so the pilot hole's got to be big enough for this bolt to go through, and once the bolt is through, you install this bit with the teeth on inside, and just poke that through, screw it up, and that will punch through the stainless steel. They work really well. They're not very cheap. They can. This one's probably about 15 to 20 pounds. I've got a 40mm one which was closer to 30 pounds, and I've got a selection of these for whatever job I might need to do. Then on the inside I've got compression fitting, so an olive, and that will clamp onto the stainless steel Hermes coil. So I need to go and drill pilot holes first, quite a small one. Now I've got the new drill bits that I had to get around my issues yesterday. I've got the right bit, so that should make quick work of that. So a small pilot hole, then a larger one to fit that bolt through, and I should be able to punch the larger holes through. Okay, so I'm gonna come, I think, a good part of the way to the back of the boiler with this. So first things first, I'm going to just mark a hole, or mark where I want to put the hole. That's about a good height. doesn't really matter. So good old Sharpie, and I've just marked that hole. So if that is there, yeah, it's not too bad. Then hopefully someone's put the Sharpie in my teeth, but you can't really talk, which is probably a good thing. And so I think I'm just going to start off doing that hole first. Okay, so hole punch first. I do have a proper hole punch, but typically I can't find it, so hopefully this won't be too loud. I'm going a little bit lower than I actually marked out. It shouldn't be an issue. There we go. This takes a 10mm hex bit, and I just need to wind it up, and should hear 3 pops. I think that was one. Okay, that was definitely one. And that was one. And that was one. Okay. And now that's quite a clean hole. It needs a little bit of tidy up. It's quite sharp on the outside, but it's not a bad job. So that there. So that was there. Just double check. Yep. So is that there? I'm just going to go around here just a little bit more, just a bit more away from the element. So that, oops, idiot. Oh, well, that's just come out. I don't know how that goes back in, whether it's that way or that way. So imagine probably that way. I do have another one of these. I'll try and make sure I do it the correct way, because I keep on doing it like that. to wrap PTFE tape around these threads. Okay, lightly on this edge, then a bit heavier as we get towards the HLT. And the cam lock connector. I'm going to, again bearing in mind where the element is, I'm going to install the other bulkhead fitting around about there, I think. So that's going to be the hose inlet. So yeah, where fresh water goes into the HLT. So about there, I think, should be good. To be somewhere towards the top. This is my new mash tun. I've not used it yet. It's 100 litre capacity, but it's a bit of a concern cutting a hole in this one, but I need to do it, so that's what I'm going to do. It has a removable false bottom, so before I start cutting that about, I'll remove that. So I'm finding that the O-rings are snagging a little bit, so what I think I'll do is just put this around the edge there. There's a little ridge that the O-ring sits in, and that should stop it snagging quite so much anyway. There you go, that's perfect, I think. Fit on there like that. And PTFE. Just needs just a hold in once. Once it overlaps itself, it grips. You can wrap it quite tight, and it follows the thread really well. Okay. I'm just trying to find a spare cam lock connector, but I'll just take it from this one for now. I do have one somewhere, I'm sure I counted correctly. Okay, you should do that. Okay, then I'll just have to run hose from that middle connector to there, and that should be it. That's it, job done for the day. Got to go cook dinner now, otherwise I'll be in the doghouse. So I'll carry on again during the week. Hi everyone, it's now August bank holiday weekend. It's Saturday, it's almost a week after I did the last scenes. I've not really been able to progress over the past week. I've installed some hoses, you can't see it on that angle, but there's some hoses that I've attached, but I am missing, I've miscounted somehow. Clearly maths isn't my strong point, or counting isn't my strong point, some of these cam lock ends. So I ordered these early in the week, they've still not turned up. So as with anything brew related in the UK, it's just very difficult and very slow to actually get stuff. So yeah, you're just constantly waiting, so it's a real pain. What has turned up is my water filter. So I've installed the filters within here, so it's a particle filter and another one that should get rid of chlorine and some other nasty bits. The water here isn't actually that bad, it's just heavily chalky, so that's the main thing that I want to get rid of. I'm no expert on water. Any purist brewer or any expert brewer is going to sort out all their chemical balance, all their minerals and everything. They're completely strip it back and add in what is needed to make a good brew. I just don't know enough about that at the moment, so hopefully this should just improve the overall quality of the water here, but it won't be Burtonized, or a process called Burtonization, which is to make the water replicate that from the Trent in Burton. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to install this on the wall. I've got a hose fitting to go into the HLT, and then I shall connect up some hoses just to I mean, that'll be another stage done. So yeah, I'll crack on with that. Okay, I've got a hose end, so it's a regular garden hose end, but it's brass. Brass can be a bit funny when you're brewing, but it's mainly when you're heating it. Sometimes I think it's lead treated, but in this case it won't be an issue. It's going to be on the outside of the HLT. Yes, it will get a little bit warm, but it will only ever be cold water that passes through it. So all being well, I shouldn't have an issue there. So that's a hose ends generally have a 3/4 inch fitting, but I've got a 1/2 inch reducing bush on, so that will thread straight onto here. It's not overly important, but I've got a tap to go on the outside. I don't imagine anything's going to splash up and back out of this port, but it's there anyway. It's an extra level of protection and isolation. So I try and wrap PTFE with the thread, so as you turn it, or as you're attaching your fittings, that it doesn't unravel. I mean, it shouldn't anyway, but ideally I would have put this on. In fact, I couldn't have put it on previously because there's a bulkhead nut there. that should do it. Okay, I've taken the bulkhead fitting off because you've got these black O-rings and they just snag against the against the actual bulkhead. So I'm just going to put that onto here and put this O-ring back on. And then just try and do it all back up again. Oops. I'm not going to redo the PTFE tape because it's not. Right, so I dropped a black rubber O-ring on a black rubber floor, so obviously I can't see it at the moment, so you'll have to bear with me while I have a hunt around and find it. After a few swear words, I thought best to go and make a cup of tea and then step away and come back again and try and find it, which I appear to have done straight away without even looking. Okay, so this bulkhead fitting, I think the rubber, I don't know if it's rubber or silicone, but stick that on the inside, followed by a washer. I think I'll put a brass one on because this one has got a groove in it for an O-ring. That might come in useful for something a bit later on. So the idea is that the O-ring sits right inside, and when you turn it up it does not bend, flex and distort out of shape. In this situation it's proven that that's not the case. Okay, I think that's going to do it. I'm going to put the water filter here, just on the sidewall, between the freezer and right where the fermenter is going to sit. So, so I'm just going to think about there. We'll do. Draw some pilot holes first. It is now in place, so I need to get a piece of hose to attach right to here and also into the back of the HLT. I need to give it a bit of slack so it will go from there, it will go down to the floor, then up the back of the bench and into the back of the HLT. I have these brass hose connectors, so they'll marry up to the back of the HLT and to that connection there on the water filter. So nuts on those, quite a nice secure connection. Hopefully they won't blow off, hopefully they won't leak, but I'm just attaching them now just so I can connect to the back of the HLT and just get the right amount of hose. The hose is very thick, so it's going to be quite tight to get these done up, but hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. I need a bigger building for the brewery though, because struggling to move in it. Actually attaches quite nicely on the back there. So I shall just tuck the hose down the back, bearing in mind that we've got electrical connections down there, but I've made sure the connections are out of the way, but yeah, we're obviously going to have to make sure everything's pressure tested before there's any power connected to anything. So that can go along the floor. Down there's plenty of slack there, and I shall just feed this up here, and I reckon if I cut there, that should give me plenty of hose to play with. Have to get some grips on these in a bit. Just to tighten that up. I've just not got the grip in my hands, but I also need to take the hose off again. I can't say that it's all that clean inside. There's probably lots of bugs and that in it because it's not been stored particularly well, so yeah, I just want to flush some cleaner and sanitizer through it, but that should be good. Got a whole load of this hose, so that will reach to my house tap or faucet, and I'll just have a standard hose connector going on to there. Hi again. So it's over a week later. It's taken that long to actually get the bits and pieces through, so I've got lots more of these cam lock connectors, so I'm going to carry on and connect up all the hoses. I'm swapping to the smaller diameter pipe. It seems to bend a lot better, whereas this kinks, especially close to the connectors. Right, so this is it. I've got all the pipes connected now. I don't think there's anything missing. So it'd be a bit of a pain if something was missing. It'd be very messy. So now I'm probably good to put some water in it. Just need to connect the hose up to the water filter. I've got a tap on there. There's also a tap on the back, the input to the HLT. So these bulkhead connections are new, as I've already shown the video fitting those. So I want to make sure that that's not going to leak. I might actually need to support this coil because it's going to flex the sidewall, that could actually cause a leak, but we'll see shortly. We've had a power cut, so I won't be able to test any pumps at the moment, but let's just try filling up the HLT. So I'll connect up the hose, which the socket is leaking a little bit, but that's because it's under pressure. I did turn the hose off, but there's still some pressure in there, but it's not dripping. I'm going to turn the hose, the outside tap on, and hopefully that won't leak. Okay, the tap is now on. It is leaking a little bit, so I'm going to need to pay some attention to that. As I open up the taps and fill the HLT, that should take the pressure off and that should stop leaking. Let's see if I can put anything down there just to catch the drips. That's not ideal. I've got a takeaway container, but that might fill up quite quick. Right, so I can sort that, that's not an issue. I might have to change and use a more substantial end to that. So from there, once I open that tap and open the tap on the back here, let's open that now. I think that's open, and then just open this on. Okay, no leaks so far that side. That's reduced the dripping. It's coming up there, that's fine. And just check if I close that tap, just want to make sure nothing's spraying anywhere else. If it does spray, at least with the power cut, it's not going to electrocute me, is it? And that's still dry there. So these brass connectors do seem to be a little bit better, so I may well swap that over as well. I'll fill that up probably just enough so that I can draw water out of this tap, and then we'll have to wait for power to come back on before I can pump stuff around. It's filling up slowly. It's not too bad. If it was a reverse osmosis system, then to fill this tank, unless I went for something really expensive, then it could take a whole day. And that's fair enough, you could prepare in advance, but at some point you're going to want to top this up. And that's no good if you're mid-brewing, you've got to wait several hours for your HLT to top up the water. So the water filter's fine. I am filling it up. I'm going to go above this point. I need to see if there's going to be any leaks coming through the bulkhead, but fingers crossed. I think we're above this point now, and that's holding, but I'll give it a bit of a flex and a wobble just to see if anything leaks out. If it does leak and it's only a drip every now and again, that's not ideal, but it's livable because it's only ever going to be clean, fresh hot water in this system. The main thing is that water cannot get back into the coil, or what's going through the coil can get into the water. So I don't know how best to test that unless I put something coloured in there, perhaps some food dye. I don't know if I want that going through the system though, just to see if it colours the water as it's flowing through the coil. So where are we up to now? Almost halfway up the coil. So I filled the HLT almost all the way with water. You can just see the top line there. What I have noticed is that this bottom, well, both connections are dry under there, but this pipe has taken on some water. So don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see just about there. I've marked with pencil where the line was just now, and the water has risen above that, so it is taking on water. So in the bottom connection there, I'm somehow going to have to try and get to that and just see if I can tighten it up. Not with all this water in it, because it'd be cold. By the time the power came on at 7 o'clock last night, I decided I'm going to the pub, so that's what I did. So put the video on hold till today. So just to recap, there's in this line here you can just see the water line, so it has leaked back into the coil. I'm going to transfer the water from the HLT into the mash tun, then I can get to the coil and tighten it up. Okay, so as the water is going from the HLT to the mash tun, I want to just get water in all of the systems, so no air pockets, and then that way I can turn handles on and off just to pressure test everything. So let's open up the outlet from the pump, close that one so it can't go back around the coil, and that should start filling the HLT, sorry, the mash tun. Okay, that's working well, I guess. Okay, turn that off for a sec. Tighten that one. So now the pump is completely primed, and I'll send water up this pipe, and it won't be able to go anywhere, but it will test the seals around all these joints there. So give it another go. You see I've got a small leak there, so I'll tighten that one up. This is the boil off adapter, so that's for recycling the works, but the hot water from the HLT will come through the same channel. I can actually undo that, it's a hand tightening screw, but I'll just let that go. So this is the Verloff adapter connected there. That is for recycling the work, so that you have a fine spray above, and it should prevent channels being created in the work bed, or sorry, in the grain bed. So the HLT comes through that same adapter. It's not ideal, it's probably not as quick as I want it to be, but that's okay, I can live with that. It is removable. You could potentially put other like sparge heads in there, which I think I might actually end up making one. Now the water has gone down quite a bit. I can see inside, and Yeah, sure enough, on the, you're probably not going to be able to see, but the top bulkhead fitting compared to the bottom one there's a lot more thread visible, so I just need to tighten that up. So I've got the adjustable spanner on the outside there. That's then just see if I can get this spanner, 22mm, onto the connection here. Oops. That's tightened a little bit. Go as much as I can, really. It's a very tight space, I'm really struggling to get in there. Okay, easiest way to do this is just to take the whole coil out again. Could have done without it, but never mind. Turns out I put that cone shape, I don't know, call it, it's like a olive, that was back to front, so the olive wasn't biting onto the pipe. So good luck this time. So what I've just found is the back of this pump switch, you have these plastic prongs to hold it in place. The bottom one's snapped, this is the second one that's happened to now. So yeah, that's a pain. I'm going to have to replace that before the next brew, but I can get by. I can just use this side. Or for now I could just use a cable tie, which I think could work. Maybe 2 cable ties. Okay, it's one through, and one behind here. There's a convenient hole on the mount of the switch, so hopefully that should just all line up, and I'll try and reconnect it all. I think that's going to hold. Not the ideal job, but it's probably stronger than when it was first made. Right, I'm now going to open up the tap of the mash tun. Let's prime to that pump. So the output of the pump is here. You can't see that. Okay, output of the pump comes up here. I'm going to turn that tap off. That tap's off. Let's recirculate it into itself just to make sure that that's flowing okay. Which, that's fine. Now if I close everything, then I can check to see if there's any leaks around this tap just by pressure. There isn't. That looks good. Open that and then close that one. If I recirculate back into the coil, but I'll prevent it from coming back out of the heat exchange coil, the Hermes coil, and see what that does. Lots of bubbling, gurgling noises, which is worrying, but I can't see any leaks. I think it's just the pipes filling up. So turn that off and just check. Make sure everything's dry. There is a wet patch there, but I think that's from when I connected up the hose in the first place, because it's all dry underneath. Ish. Okay. Right, okay, so we've tested the HLT down into the pump. The pump coming up into these taps, they're all leak free. I've had some closed, some open, and with the pumps turned on, and the back pressure, there's nothing is leaking out of those. The coil, I'll give that another test. So from the mash tun right round into the heat exchange coil for the Hermes system, this tap is closed, so that will create pressure on the coil. So all the pipes are currently filling up. Just see the bubbles. So it can't actually go anywhere, so this is all under pressure now. You can slowly see that filling. That's just where the air is bubbling back up the pipe, and there are no leaks inside there, nothing spraying out. So that should be, if I close that, open that, it should, that's all the air coming out. So once that's all bled out and all the air is gone, then I'll just shut this tap off again, and you'll be able to see, because it's going to be water right through this coil now, whereas my test before it possibly could have been air, but there's nothing pumping through that. So So that's fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There's nothing leaking. There's no, I mean there are spray marks up the wall, but that's just where the air just escaped through this. So on that note, we are done. I just need to tidy bits and pieces up in here, and then ready for the next brew. So I'll see you on the next brew day.